Hey everyone, thanks for learning to play games. My name is Lance, and in today's video I'm taking a look at a brand new game coming to Gamefound, which is Doomguard. This is a new one from Pinnacle Entertainment Group. It is a 1 to 5 player game that takes roughly 1 to 2 hours to play, and is a fully cooperative game where all the players are working together to complete whichever scenario they've chosen to go on. So in the game itself, you are going to be playing heroes and villains that have teamed up as an ultimate evil has shown up. And in the demo copy, it's going to be Cthulhu. But in the base game, there's going to be a couple of different ultimate evils you can choose from to try to take over the city and the world. And so that's where you come in as the players. You're going to again be playing either villains or heroes that are teaming up to try to handle this situation. And there's going to be a number of different scenarios that are going to be included in the game. So you can play them as a one-off mission or as a campaign where you'll be able to take on all of the different bads. So in this video, I'm going to take you through the main features of the game and show you a sample turn to give you a better idea on how this one plays to help you decide whether or not this is one you want to back on Gamefound. As always, if you find my videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribe to my channel. It's one of the easiest ways you can support channels like mine so we can continue to grow, be able to produce this content. If you want to stay up to date on all my videos, also give that notification bell a ring, and I'll let you know whenever I drop new stuff. So I'm constantly dropping new teaching videos, playthroughs, crowdfunding coverage videos, and many others. And as always, if you have any questions or requests, please drop those in the comment section below as well. I'll do my best to answer them. And with this one, just like anything else, these are just prototype materials and are subject to change. They'll look a lot better in the final production copy of the game. So let's go ahead and head to the table. We'll see what this one's all about. The first thing I want to cover are the different villains and heroes that players can play as the Doomguard trying to save the city from the ultimate evil. So each one of them is going to have their own dashboard that's going to list the name of that hero on the top, give you a little bit of backstory about that hero, and then give you special abilities that that hero has. On the side of the card are the different stats for that hero, including the different types of damage that hero does. For example, with Mantle, he is an elemental. He does elemental damage. Each hero has a number of corruption points they can take before converting that hero over to a crazed hero, and then you have their movement values. Now, on the back of their card is their crazed side. So with this side, it is going to again list all of the same information, but it's also going to list a way that you can redeem that hero and flip them back over to their normal side. So with that, at the bottom of each card is also going to be the different docks that you can lock the dice in when you roll those action dice to give you the different actions you'll be able to use during your turn. And then each hero is also going to have, or villain, is going to have 2 different decks of cards that they're going to be working with throughout the game. These are the hero's stunt cards, and these are going to have all kinds of different effects that will allow the hero to perform heroic actions or all kinds of other things that the hero will be able to use during their turn, during certain phases, or during other players' turns during certain phases, or even the Doom card, which can be used at any time throughout the game, no matter when it is. Each one of these is going to have different effects. Some of them will have costs that you'll have to pay. For example, with Mantle, he is all about fire and using fire tokens to his advantage, where he can do all kinds of different cool things with that. Now, again, when a hero or villain becomes crazed, then you're going to switch over and use that villain or hero's crazed cards. And these are going to have similar effects that are going to you can play during your turn to carry out different things. And there's going to be a whole number of heroes that are included and villains in the game that you can play as, including Mantle, Echo 6, the Warden, Hex, Hellcat, Blackguard, and Ogre, just to name a few of them. Now that I've covered the different heroes and villains you can play as, what about your enemies? What are you fighting? So there's going to be a number of different minions that are going to be included in the game. Each minion is going to have its own card that's going to list all of the different stats for that minion. Each minion is going to have 2 different versions of it. You'll have its base version and its exalted version. Each of these versions is going to show the number of hit points that minion has, along with the dice it rolls when it performs its attack, and the results of the different icons you're going to find on those dice. For example, you'll have the fist with the arrow, which is going to, for the cultists, is going to do damage to guardians and cause corruption. With the confusion symbol, this one is going to cause landmarks to take corruption. And then you're going to have the exclamation point, which is going to trigger the dark ritual. And then each one of the minions also has an impending doom effect. On the exalted side, as you can see, they're a little bit better on each one of those different effects. and it also has a immunity to a certain type of attack. So for example, with the cultists exalted, they are immune to the psychic attacks. And there's going to be a number of different minions included in the game. And just for the demo, I have a few of those, which are the Catanthians, the Crawling One, the Bakis, and the Hounds, just to name a few. And the other main game board you're going to be using is your Ultimate Evil. And with the demo, all I have is the Cthulhu board, but there will be other Ultimate Evil boards you can choose from. And so during the beginning of the game, when you're setting up the game, you're going to choose one of the Ultimate Evils you want to face. Each one of them will have their own board that is going to list their impending doom effects that you'll be handling throughout the game. They're also going to have their own corrupted space. And for example, this one is the Corrupted Docks, where heroes can go to this location and spend a energy to carry out the action on there, which is one of the ways that they can help handle the doom. And the doom counter will throughout the game will be moving this way. If it ever reaches the end of the track, the players have lost, so the players are going to have to handle all that. And they're also going to have their impending doom cards based on the scenario that they've chosen. For example, with the one that I'm going to be showing in this, it is the Weed of Corruption. And so it's going to have a phase 1 that the players are going to have to handle certain things and carry out different actions. For example, invoking the seal, where they're going to have to do that a number of times based on the number of heroes to complete that. Now, once the players have completed that, later on, there's going to be a phase 2 that the players will have to then handle. And again, determining what victory conditions they have based on that. Now, the other cards, the Impending Doom cards, are going to implement other effects. For example, this one is Civil Unrest, and it's going to have you placing out a number of bystanders that you'll have to rescue. And if you don't, then there's going to be an additional card that will be added in the other scenarios you play throughout the rest of the campaign. Then there's also going to be Dark Portent cards, and these cards are going to be based on the minions you've chosen to use with this particular Ultimate Evil. And those will have all kinds of different effects, such as summoning different minions and having different growing of dread effects. And each player is going to draw one of these cards at the beginning of their player turn and resolve its effects, as you're going to see a little bit later in the video. The next thing I want to go over is the main game board. And so this is the city that the players are going to be moving around, trying to handle all the different situations that are going to come up throughout the scenario. At the beginning of the game, you're going to be placing random locations out in different areas based on the number of players that are playing. So for example, with a 2-player game, I would place out 4 locations. And I'm also going to have a central base. And there'll be a number of those included in the game that you'll get to choose which one that you want your team to start off at. From there, then you're going to be moving around the board and trying to handle these different locations that can take corruption throughout the game, be destroyed throughout the game where they're removed, or if they're corrupted, they'll actually be flipped over to their corrupted sides and will have different effects for the rest of the game as well. So all kinds of interesting parts for there. And the final thing I want to show you is a sample turn in action to give you a better idea how this one plays, so you know whether or not this one you want to back on Gamefound. Moving into the game itself is going to be played over a number of rounds, and each round is going to consist of 2 phases the players are going to do in order. The first phase is the Guardian phase, where each one of the players will get to take a turn, and then once all the players have had a turn, then you'll move into the second phase in the round, which is the Impending Doom phase, where the game itself is going to do all kinds of different things, and you're going to follow the different steps on whichever Ultimate Evil you've chosen. And then it'll continue going back over to the next Guardian phase. So jumping into this one, the player that has the leader token is going to be the first player during this Guardian phase. And each player is going to do a number of steps in order during this phase. The first one is revealing a Dark Portent card. And so I'm going to go ahead and handle that. And this one is It Comes From Below. I'm going to spawn minions. This one's going to have me placing out 1 Catanthian. And this one is going to be at the power plant, which there is no power plant out, which means that instead I'm going to place this one in a random location. So it's going to go into the ISSO lab. So it'll be placed up there. And then after that, it is going to have its Growing Dread effect, which is it's going to trigger their Impending Doom, which on Gantanthian, the Impending Doom is the landmark is going to take a damage. So I'm going to place 1 damage on the landmark. And that'll take care of that card. So then it'll move into the second part of the player's turn where you're going to generate your power pool. In order to do that, you're going to roll 6 power dice. Now you might roll less, and that's going to be dependent upon certain factors such as your character's hit points. As you take more damage, you'll roll less of these dice. So let's go ahead and roll and see what kind of actions I can take. All right, so I got 2 wilds. I got a dash. And I got 3 blanks. So I could take corruption to roll some of these over, but I think I'm going to go ahead and hold there and just use what I have to work with. So these will just be placed back. And with my character, I'm allowed to do each one of these actions one time. So I can do a move action, I can do an engage, I can rescue a bystander, I can do a landmark that I'm at's ability if it has an action, and any action that the scenario specifically has. So with the scenario that we're working on right now, there is one action that you can take which is going to cost 2 energy, and it's an invoke a seal. I can remove 1 corruption from the Guardian's landmark. And then if it has at least 1 corruption and does not have a lockdown token, I'm going to place a lockdown token on it. And a landmark with a lockdown token cannot have any corruption placed on it. So that's the goal for this first part of this mission or scenario that I'm playing, is that I'm trying to generate a number or have a number of spaces, landmarks locked down based on the number of players I'm playing. And so now that I'm playing 2, I need to have at least 2 locations locked down. All right, so with that, I have some cards that I should potentially play here that could help. And I think I'm going to go ahead and start with Throwing Lightning. So this one allows me to gain an energy, and a minion within 2 spaces takes 1 elemental damage for each space you moved this turn. So normally with my move action, I can move up to 2 spaces, and if I spend a dash, it's going to allow me to move 2 additional spaces. So I'm going to hold on to this card just for now, and I'm going to go ahead and do a move action. And as I can only do 1 move action normally, my special ability with Echo 6 is that she could actually do 2 move actions if she wanted to. So I'm going to go ahead and spend the dash so I can move up to 4 spaces, and I'm going to move 1, 2, and then up top for 3, and into this location for 4. And then this die will be removed. And now I'm going to go ahead and drop this Thrown Lightning card. And this one is going to, again, allow me to gain that energy. And it will eliminate this guy as he's going to take 4 damage because I've moved 4 spaces. And it is elemental damage. And they are not immune to elemental damage. And they have 4 hit points. So he is going to be eliminated from that location. I'm going to pick up an experience as well for that, as defeating an enemy gains me an experience. And that will take care of that. So that was pretty helpful. And then there is a bystander there, so I could spend an energy to gain that bystander. And I do have 2 wilds, which I can use for a variety of different types of actions. So I think I'm going to spend 1 of them to be able to pick up the bystander. So I'll go ahead and add her to my board. And if I take her back to the base, then I can rescue her. And that is one of the conditions on here as well. And I think I'll spend the other one to gain another energy. So that'll give me my 2 energy that I can potentially use next time for a lockdown, potentially. And let's see if I have anything else that I could do during my turn. I've done a move, and I've already done a rescue bystander. I do have a landmark, so I could spend an action to trigger that, which allows me to gain a tech or elemental damage token. And then the Guardian could spend an energy to gain both of them. Let's see. And the rest of these cards aren't super helpful at the moment, but I don't want to get rid of any of them. So I'll go ahead and do the locations ability. That way that I can gain, I think I will gain the tech, since I can already do physical and that other ability of mine does elemental. I don't have anything that it seems that I can do tech with right now. All right, so I think that will be it. I have no more dice, and I don't think there's any other cards that I want to play at this point. So at this point, I could choose to discard down or any number of these cards if I wanted to, and then I'll redraw back up to my starting hand size of 5 cards. But I think I do like these cards, so I'm just going to hold on to them, and I will just draw one, which I picked up the Hero of the People. So this one will help with rescuing bystanders. And I do have, let's see, what else do I have here? Okay, so high risk could be very helpful for my other player next turn, potentially, so we'll see how that goes. All right, so my turn, I think, is going to be done at this point. There's nothing else I really want to do. So it's going to kick over to my other player, which again is going to start by drawing a dark card. So we have the Ancient One Stirs. This one has me spawning minions based on the number of players divided by 2. So it's going to have me spawn 1 cultist, and it's going to be placed in a random location. So this one is the Fire Station. So that'll go in the Fire Station. Next, the Growing Dread is going to have me place 1 energy on a cultist. So anytime one of the minions gains an energy, it becomes exalted. So that is going to add, or you're going to refer to the other side of its card, and it'll become more powerful. So for example, with the cultist, it's going to gain an extra health, and it's going to be rolling a black die along with the 2 greens, and each one of its abilities might be ramped up a little bit as well. So that's not good. And then you're going to place a number of corruption on this landmark based on the number of players divided by 2. So again, 1 corruption at that location. And that'll take care of that card. So now it's over to Mantle's turn to go. So again, I'm going to go ahead and roll. I get 6 dice as Mantle is still full health. We'll see what we get here. Wow, okay, so we got 4 wilds and 2 dashes. Well, I think I'm just going to take the 4 wilds since you can use those for anything. I don't see a benefit in not taking those. So from there, I definitely want to get down there and handle that cultist. And being that this is an example turn, I think it's good to show a combat as well. So let me see if there's anything else I want to do beforehand. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do this Growing Intensity first. So this one allows me to search Mantle's deck and discard pile for a Hourglass card and add it to your hand. Shuffle his power stunt deck afterwards. So it would be any one of those that has that symbol up top there. So I have Defensive Embers. I have Conflagration. Start of any turn. No, I've already started my turn. Let's do Heat Wave. That sounds good. So Guardians within 2 spaces gain Living Flame and can use fire as reroll tokens. Discard this card if Mantle takes 5+ damage this turn. So this one gets added to my hand. The rest of my deck gets shuffled up. And I've used that card, so I'll just place that in my discard. And I'm going to go ahead and play that Heat Wave. So any Guardians within 2 spaces are going to gain the benefits of that. And I do have Guardians may spend a fire to gain energy. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do Burn as well. So this one lets me gain an energy, and Guardians may spend a fire to gain energy. The other Guardians don't have any yet. Well, hold on a minute. Let's see. All right. Well, let's go ahead and do a move action first. So I'm going to move 2 spaces. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to discard one of these to be able to trigger his ability, which is Stoke the Fires. Mantle may discard a docked power die to distribute 3 fire tokens among models at his location. So I'm going to go ahead and gain 2 of those for myself. And I'm going to give 1 to the cultists. All right. And then, let's see. going to go ahead and do burn. So this one lets me gain an energy. And then Guardians may spend a fire to gain additional energy. So I'm going to go ahead and spend one of those fire tokens that I just picked up to gain another energy. So that'll give me 2. And that'll discard that. Is there anything else I want? All right, so from here, I think I'm going to do a combat action so you can see how that works. So I have to spend an engage for a wild, so the engage is the fist, or I have 4 wilds, so I'm just going to count the wild as an engage. That's going to allow me to roll 6 combat dice. And then I also have to roll any dice for any minions on that space. So with the Exalted Cultist, that one's going to be rolling 2 green and a black die. So let's see what we get. All right, so got some decent stuff here. All right, so first off with the cultist here, I have the Guardian is going to take 3 damage and a corruption for the fist. Now I can stop that with the dodge here. I have that. I have this landmark takes a corruption. So I'll go ahead and handle that one real quick. So I'm going to place a corruption token on there. I also have a dark ritual, so if there is 2 cultists on the board, this guardian becomes crazed. If the guardian is already crazed, the doom advances. So there's only 1 guardian out there right now, so that works out as I don't have to suffer the effects of that. So I'm going to go ahead and place that away as well. So then the last thing is handling this. So I don't think I really want to take... Well, I could take the 3 damage and a corruption. So let me handle that real quick. So I take 1 corruption and I'll take 3 damage. So I'm going to place 3 damage up there. And then the location is going to take another corruption. So I'll take that. And then I have to resolve my dice. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one to stop the location from taking a damage. But 1 gets through, so there'll be 1 collateral damage on there from that. And then I do have 2 damage that I'm hitting the cultist with. And the cultist does have a flame token, so he's going to take an additional damage for that. So that's the 3 that I need to eliminate that cultist. So with that, I will gain 2 experience because he's exalted. So I'm going to pick up 2 experience for that. And that will remove him. So I'll go ahead and take those away. And from there, I still have 2 tokens left. Emergency response, remove all flame tokens from a guardian. I definitely don't want to do that. But I do have 2 energy now, so I could do the invoke the seal. So this is going to cost me 2 energy. So I'll go ahead and spend that. It has me removing 1 corruption from the Guardian's landmark. And if it has at least 1 corruption, which it still does, and does not have a lockdown token, place a lockdown token on it. A landmark with a lockdown token cannot take corruption, or corruption cannot be placed on it. So I'll place the lockdown token on there. I'm just going to place it right over the rest of those to kind of signify that. So that will take care of that. And that's the first one. So I just need 1 more to be able to complete that first objective. And then I do have 2 dice left at this point. So there is not a bystander there. I've already done my move action. So I'm just going to spend these last 2 to gain 2 energy. And that'll help me for next turn, hopefully, if I need to. Otherwise, the other character might be able to do it as well. All right, so that will complete both of my characters' turns, and that is the end of the Guardian phase, as all of my characters have gone now. So then I'm going to move into the Impending Doom phase. So during this phase, the team leader is going to resolve each of these steps. The first one is Evil Threat. So we're going to resolve each of the Impending Doom effects listed on the Ultimate Evil board. So this one is going to, now first off, before that, I do have an effect on here. So with the Impending Doom, bystanders are not placed during the Impending Doom phase. So anything that lists bystanders being placed, I don't have to worry about. So this first step here would have me normally placing, but that's not going to be triggered because that one blocks that. So next I'm going to spawn a number of cultists at a random location. Again, 2 divided by 2 is going to be 1 cultist coming out. And he's going to be placed at a random landmark. So it's going to be the Captain Might statue. And then I'm going to place, again, a number of corruption on a random location. So let's see which one that's going to be. It's just going to be 1, and it's going to be on the labs. So I'll place 1 corruption there. All right. So that handles all that. And then reveal and resolve the next Impending Doom card. All right, so then we have the next card. So this one is Oppressive Madness. So as the Guardians exert themselves, the alien minds of the Elder God begins to break through the hero's weakening defenses. So spreading corruption, Guardians take 1 corruption each time they spend 1 or more energy. Well, that's not good. All right, that takes care of that. And then we have board threat, resolve each landmark in turn. For each landmark, resolve the following in order. Minions. If the landmark is fully corrupted, minions move. Each minion adds 1 corruption to its landmark. So I do have to add 1 corruption to the statue. And then each minion triggers its Impending Doom effect, which the Impending Doom is going to be adding another corruption to that location. So unfortunately, the cultist gone up there, and that location cannot take a lot. All right, and then the location itself, each location, none of these have Impending Doom effects to be triggered for the landmarks. So that is it, and this will be flipped back over, and we'll start another hero turn. Well, I hope that gives you a better idea how this one plays. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please post those in the comments section below, and I'll do my best to answer them, or swing by the Gamefound main page and drop any questions you have there as well. I'm sure the creators would love to hear from you and are more than happy to answer any questions you have. Until next time, I'll see you later.